Thank you, everyone. Really happy to be here. That's a bit of fake news, actually, up on the screen there. Although newsletters were very important in what I'm about to share with you, this is actually a story of our journey into membership as a news organization. So, Daily Maverick, based in South Africa. Not too many of you know who we are, so by way of a little bit of introduction, we were born in 2009 in a time of two devils. One you might recognize, the other is President Zuma, who was the president of the country for a decade of large-scale corruption and malfeasance in our country. The other is the overlord of a social network that you might be familiar with. So we were born in a time of a single-party state in South Africa, where there was a lot of corruption happened, but also being a digital-only media company focusing on politics in this era meant we had the commercial equivalent of Ebola. So we started out with five editorial staff and a part-time CEO, which was myself, and that business card that we saw earlier was very reminiscent of the first sort of 5-6 years of my journey with Daily Maverick. Our mission was to bring quality, long-form, independent journalism to South African readers. We classified ourselves as a daily magazine, and we were born out of a magazine. So our editor-in-chief was in publishing for 20 years, and when Maverick magazine stopped functioning or stopped printing, he came up with the idea to go online, and Daily Maverick was born. So very briefly, our revenue strategy over the years to deal with our commercial equivalent of Ebola is a 3-2-6 formation. So three being three categories, A, B, and C. Within that, having two types of closely linked revenue streams within that, and that gives us sort of 6 significant revenue streams that we can work with towards sustainability. So for us, what that looks like is philanthropy is one of the major categories, commercial activities, and reader revenue. And then within that, you can see the two different types. So for philanthropy, we've got individuals in their personal capacity, foundations, commercial activities, so advertising and events were for a long time the staple of our revenue efforts, and then in the reader revenue space, recurring and once-off contributions. So our journey into membership, and Maverick Insider is the name of our membership plan, and so the idea is Maverick Insider, and you can see the big I there in our logo, was to bring our members and our most loyal readers and fans who can get a closer look at the truth. And so that's what Maverick Insider is all about, is about creating this community of members. And so some of the reasons why we started this was the digital ad model was broken. And so being digital only, we didn't have a legacy media product to be able to rely on radio, TV, or print revenues. After 8 years, we were running out of friends, fools, and family to invest or lend to us. And we didn't want to put up a paywall, and we were quite adamant. So when we started talking about reader revenue options, my editor-in-chief, said in his thick Serbian accent, "We won't put up a paywall," And I said, that's fine. There's a lot of research that's been coming out and that we can use to create a voluntary membership program where we don't have to limit any of the content just for people who can afford to pay. And then the other thing that we did was, while we were waiting to change CMS and we weren't able to build what we wanted to for our membership platform, we decided to do a minimum viable product, which was to put up a call for donations, a more aggressive call for donations, and recurring donations to see whether people would actually sign up to do that if we asked them. So the main priority and the main objective of our membership plan is not to generate revenue. And this is something that we have to keep going back and educating ourselves and internally and at conferences that we go and speak at. And the main priority of our membership plan is to build a community. If we do that well, if we do that right, the financial benefits will be a byproduct of that. And so we have to keep reinforcing this idea in what we do, in our meetings, in what we track and what we measure, that community building is the #1 priority. The difference between membership and subscription is something that comes up quite a lot, and I imagine there's this scale, and you've got donations on the one side and you've got subscriptions on the other, and membership in the middle. And the difference being that, subscription is transactional. People are paying for access to news content. And membership is more personal, and it's built around the relationship around the news rather than access to the news. The membership puzzle project that we've been working with closely over the last year, they say subscribers pay money to get access to a product, members join a cause. And for me, that's the big difference. And that thinking, that definition comes through in a lot of the marketing that I'll share with you in just a bit. So our minimum viable product before we launched the actual membership program was hugely instructive for us and gave us a lot of data. It gave us the ability to test a couple of things, and then once we tested that, we were able to run a survey ahead of the membership launch that helped inform the benefits that we launched with. So this is from that survey of people who had donated in the run-up to the membership plan, and we said, how often did you visit the website? And so we could see from this that it's our most active and our most loyal fans who were the ones who were willing to donate to us. We could see that people had been with us, 65% of people had been with us for a couple of years or longer. And we asked them which benefits would they like to see. And we let them rate it, and we could see that the top 5 were all centered around engaging with us, with our team, with the website, and weren't really interested in products or other things that were completely unrelated, like winning a car, whatever it is. And so this helped inform the kind of benefits that we were going to promote and launch, and the order in which we were going to dedicate resources to launching them. So after a year of running the Insider program, we can share some great results with you guys. So we launched on the 15th of August 2018. I stood up in front of 1,000 people at our media conference in Cape Town, and I led an appeal. And I asked people and said, look, we've been doing this for the last 8 years. It's taken a lot of effort for us, and we're just barely surviving, and we're doing this great work, and we can't do this anymore. But not only can't we do this anymore, we don't want to do this anymore. We were starting off on embracing the concept of engaged journalism, opening up what we were doing to members and to people who wanted to contribute financially or otherwise. And on that day, 200 people signed up to become members. And I think the key to that was that I had my appeal just before lunch, and we put the stall for sign up between lunch and the hall as people were exiting. So we have a target of growing by 500 new recurring members a month, and so we try various things to get that. As of, I think, last week, we've got 8,373 members. Of that, 60% are recurring, and 40% think they've made a once-off contribution. And so what has happened to our team is that in that time, the growth in the membership program has helped us grow our editorial team. And so we've grown from 41 staff members in August 2018, and I think that number is now up to like 77 people in the space of a year. So our newsroom has grown 75%. 30% of our payroll now comes from our membership revenues, and 18% of all our running costs come from our readers. These are some of the events that we've had, and events form a very big part of our engagement efforts. So when our journalists launch a new book, or when we have a sort of a post-budget explainer breakfast, and so these events and commissions of inquiry, events explaining those, these events are a huge part of what we do. I think we have something like 40 events planned in the next year around South Africa, but mostly in Cape Town and Johannesburg, where most of our audiences reside. So insiders are more than just a source of revenue for us. As I mentioned, it's about building the community first, and then being able to use the willingness and the skills that people are willing to contribute. So we actually recruited our community manager, came from one of those 200 people who signed up on the day, when we launched Maverick Insider. We've been offered discounted rates on office space when we were looking for new offices. We've been offered event space for free by some of our members who have that at their disposal. We ran a membership workshop in Cape Town. We had about 40, 50 participants from around the world come in and participate in a 2-day workshop. Some people here in this audience were there with us. And some of our members who run accommodation establishments opened up at highly discounted rates for people to join us. So we've got comment moderators who we're busy vetting at the moment to help us with our comments and to be able to add more effort and more love to the comments section. We've had volunteers at events. We've needed a drone pilot, emergency drone pilot, after someone dropped us. And every 2 weeks when we send out our members newsletter, there's always a survey or some feedback, or voting on the name of a new division that we're launching, or thoughts on how we should approach a particular problem. So we're always using the opportunity to access the knowledge and the skills and the resources that our members have. So some of the practical challenges of running a membership plan. So most of them relate to e-commerce problems, and this is the stuff that keeps me up at night. Half of our support queries relate to failed orders or credit card details that need to be updated, and for a long time we've struggled with the payment gateway providers in South Africa, and so that forms the basis of that, and that means you need to manage that. You need to have people dedicated to supporting that, manning that inbox, getting back in a certain amount of time, and these are all things that new problems for us that we didn't have before we started the membership program. So how did we get to those 8,000 members? So we were quite lucky that after 8 years of building a pretty good news analysis and investigation brand in South Africa, we had an audience to start with. We have, I think, close to 2 million unique visitors a month to the website. We have 115,000 newsletter subscribers who get a variety. We have 12 newsletters that go out a month. And but the first thing that I would say, and this is something I picked up at a conference in New York by Jessica Lesson, and it says, you can't put a paywall on a pig. And so if you've got a terrible product, no one is going to support you. And that's obviously in the subscription space. So in the membership space, it's something, you can't put membership on a monkey or something like that. But if you've got a terrible product, no one's going to buy into it. No one's going to join your cause. You've got to have a valid cause and a great product. So this is from Chartbeat, and essentially what this is telling us is that 95% of the people who visit your website, if you're a free-to-access website, just will never give you money. They will never subscribe, and you need to find a different way of doing something with them. And so it's really about finding the most engaged people, the most civically minded people, and the heavy users, essentially. So who are the ones who are most likely to convert? So our sign-up page is quite simple. We have a slider, and people can choose the value of their contribution. And what we do is we then try and influence that the value of their contribution with an incentive, for example. These are some of the benefits that we have. But the first benefit that we tout to our members is to help keep Daily Maverick free for people who can't afford to pay. And so we tap into that cause-driven thinking about why people should join up, and that's the main reason that we give, the main benefit, and then the other stuff is about accessing events and engaging with our team, being able to comment on the website, ad-free browsing, and then event invitations and discounts to those events. So how we did it, we started looking where our most engaged readers would be. So we knew that our newsletter was a significant source. Our newsletters are a significant source of traffic and activity for us. So we went to our newsletters. We figured out, and we've been testing a lot of different messages around what works and what doesn't. And what we found that resonates well with potential members is talking to the cause and being clear about what that is. But that also means you need to know what your cause is, and then being able to communicate that sometimes in just a couple of words or in a banner. The other thing that we do is we ask often. And so if we're migrating from a B2B organization, and becoming a B2C organization, that means we better be ABC, which is always be closing. So half of our members come from our newsletter, and the other big place where we get a lot of our members from is at the end of articles. We have a post-article footer. You can see the spikes on this chart to our landing page are when we send out direct mailers. When something happens, we send out a mail to our newsletter base, and we try and convert people that way. These are just some examples. These are some of the banners that we use to educate our readers. And strong emotive language, defend truth during the fight. These are the ways that we tap into that cause-driven thinking around membership. It's one of our post-article footers. We recently got banned by the third biggest political party in the country from attending their events, and so that actually helped get a spike in conversions. And we write editorials, we ask for referrals, and events obviously are a great place to get people. So we want to become a global example for membership in the world. We're trying to get to 30,000 members by the end of 2021. We want membership to become part of the culture of the entire organization. So as an organization with a newsroom that started before membership was part of it, we now have to introduce concepts like engaged journalism opportunities to them, and it's slowly getting there. Technology is going to play a big part of how we get there, and we're going to grow our newsletters. So we're doubling down on the newsletters efforts for next year, and always asking more engagement opportunities and finding ways of getting younger people and corporates involved in membership as well. And then just very quickly, I know my time's almost up, we got Africans to pay for experiences around the news, and that's something that people thought would never happen. And I know a lot of people are grappling with that in some of the places they go to. We needed new skills, marketing, product, technology, business support. And what's great is that unique quality public interest journalism fuels the growth of our insider program, which fuels financial and other benefits, and just means we can do more of that journalism, which keeps growing the membership program and results in a bit of that from the last 10 years. So thank you very much.